friends, it's Teresa here. I've got a blog post over on the Traci Reed Designs blog today, and we're going to play with the Anywhere But Here digital kit, and we're going to create a hot air balloon cut file. So let's head over to my silhouette and I'll show you how to do this. Okay, so this is the cut file that we are working towards. And you'll see that I have the basic white outlines for the cut, and then the background strips for the colors of the rainbow, or the colors of the hot air balloon. So I've pulled in the Traci Reed Designs hot air balloon illustration that is a part of the Anywhere But Here collection. And what I wanted to do was to go ahead and see what the silhouette would pick up. And when you go ahead and trace this hot air balloon, you see the cut lines that the silhouette brought up. And there are actually 9 spaces for color or for pattern paper behind the cut file. So I'm going to go into the point edit tool, and the easiest way is to double click on your red lines, and that will bring up this tool automatically. The first thing that I always do is click the simplify button, and that will clean up some of the excess dots or the excess rectangles. Now, if you click on any of those rectangles, that will allow you to move the line, delete the point, or whatever. And so I'm going to clean this up a little bit. You can see there's some pieces at the top that we don't really need. And I just want to make sure that these cut lines will create a nice smooth cut for the strips that we want, for, in this case, for pattern paper to put behind the cut file. And so you will notice that what happens once I start cleaning up these extra dots, these extra points, the actual lines of the pattern paper strips start to be visible more so in the way that we want to use them. So I'm going to just keep cleaning this up a little bit. I will go back and pull them out a little bit so that the actual cut lines become more like the cut lines that we're used to seeing, which is, you know, kind of 3/8 of an inch wide, or half it, or something like that. So that you get a good show of pattern paper behind them. Another thing I'm going to do is trace the entire balloon itself. And once you trace just the outline of the hot air balloon, then go to your offset tool. Make sure you're clicked on the red outline and offset that outline so that you have the full parameter of your hot air balloon as the outside cut. And now you can really see the cut file itself taking shape. You have the width of the cut file all the way around the hot air balloon, and you also have the cuts for the pattern papers in this case, or the colors if you're going to do just a solid background behind that. But we're going to use the fun pattern papers, of course, from the collection, because how could we not? So I am going to make sure that that the lines match up in width to the outside of the cut file itself, and so that everything is pretty smooth, everything looks pretty equal between the left and the right hand side. And then also I'm going to go in down here. Let me zoom in a little bit. And there were two spots here that I focused on. I did not cut the wires for the balloon, but I did create a little space here underneath the pattern paper stripes for I guess where you would see the people's heads out of the basket. That sounds weird. But at any rate, there's a little bit of space here where you can see through. So I'm going to create a little rectangle for that. And I'm just using lines that are already there, but you can draw your own rectangle if you want to and round those corners. Also, remember to line up across the bottom of the stripes of pattern paper so that those cuts look nice and squared off at the bottom, or in this case they were rounded, and that's fine. Round those off. And then also for the basket itself, so what I was going for here was kind of a look like a basket weave, just a real loose basket weave. And I'm going to do this very simply. I'm going to draw some little tiny rectangles and copy and paste over and over again until I get the basket weave look. And then also, of course, now this actually, I realized after the fact, this actually doesn't need another rectangle around it, just the little pattern inside the cut file itself. But if you didn't want to do the little rectangles, this is how I would fill out that cut file for the bottom for the basket part, and just using the lines that are already there, just round it out and make sure again that it matches up with the exterior line of the cut file. These are the pattern papers, and so I just superimpose those or crop those onto each strip, and you can see the little basket and then how I arrange them on the 8.5 inch pattern, or the 8.5 inch paper, so I could print and cut them. Okay, so once everything is cut, let's go to my working desktop and I'll show you the photos I have, the cut file itself, and then the patterned paper strips as they were cut. I also printed out the stripe pattern paper to use as my background. So I'm going to go ahead here and adhere the pattern paper strips to the back of the balloon. I'm going to just carefully place these and then adhere them with Scotch tape on the back. This is sometimes a little bit easier. It's not quite as time consuming as gluing all the way around. And I also I cut the pattern paper strips a little bit narrower, and so I think that I was feeling like if I used my adhesive glue, then it might just get lost in between the strips of pattern paper. I don't know if any of that makes sense whatsoever, but at any rate, I'm just going to use Scotch tape here to glue these down. And it actually makes pretty quick work of backing the cut files. You just have to be a little bit careful to make sure that you truly are overlapping those cut edges. And other than that, it's fine. You also see the little basket and the little basket weave pattern that I made on that. So I'm just going to adhere that as well. The other two spaces I left blank. and they actually will end up kind of being covered with the photos. Yeah, let me talk about the photos for a minute. So River attended prom several weeks ago, and they had a great time developing their own outfit for the prom and what they wanted to wear and how they wanted to express themselves. And so it was really cool to see how their outfit came together and the little details and elements that they chose to pull their style together. And so we had a great time going over to Botanical Gardens in Kernersville to take photos of them and their friends. And so I pulled these two photos. This isn't really necessarily a layout about prom. I pulled these two photos just because they're two of my favorites of River just by themselves. And so it's really kind of a statement about how well River is doing and how they are soaring through their junior year of high school. And I'm just super proud of them. They're tackling AP exams, the SAT, and working so hard. And that's really the story behind this. I truly believe that our scrapbook layouts that we create for our children have the power to encourage them and show them that we believe in them. And so this is absolutely an expression of this, and I'm so excited that I got to make it. I am going to pop up the hot air balloon using foam tape. I'm trying a Scotch foam tape lately, just to see different little differences and if I like it or not. It is a little less messy than the previous foam tape I had, but I do like using this because it's quick to adhere. Now I'm going to pop this up as well on top of the hot air balloon and layer it over top of the other photo. This photo of their shoes just came out so cool. I loved it. It ended up actually being a 4x6 photo, horizontal, but I cropped it in, and that just really made those boots pop and makes it a fun part of this layout. So the two main elements on the page, done. But there's a lot more to go. So I'm going to add some of the word strips. Now I did go through my embellishments and stickers that I had already printed and cut from the Anywhere But Here collection. And I stuck to these four colors: the coral, the black and white, the yellow, and the green. And I was hoping that coral was going to be a little bit closer to the red in their pants, but it wasn't, and that's okay. That's fine. It all works out fun. But that kind of helped me narrow down what embellishments I wanted to pull. And so now I'm just going to tuck those under and around the photos in order to really emphasize this area of the layout. Look here is what these embellishments are saying. I did use just a variety of color around the photos, and that sort of drove my decision. So, for example, on the shoe photo, you can see the green arrow paired with a yellow word strip, and then a green circle and a yellow banner at the top, and then also the little red flag. That's so cute. That actually counts as part of the hot air balloon, I think. Because why wouldn't you want to fly a flag when you're floating in a hot air balloon? And then the other on the other photo, I did a green tab with the coral or red circle that says take the photos. Technically it says take the photos, then eat the food, but I just tucked the eat the food part underneath the photo. Since we're not really eating here, I used one of the journaling spots for the journaling here and added that underneath the photo of River, and then also stamped my date underneath everything. I folded the ends or the edges of everything up a little bit just to create more lift and more dimension, and I'm just adding a couple of more things here and there just to round it out. It still doesn't quite feel finished to me, so check it out. I went to get some puffy stickers. The first ones I had were from Round Trip by Maggie Holmes. Didn't end up liking those, so I'm going to use these from Bo Bunny. And I like these because they're different arrows in different colorways, and they're pretty flexible in terms of they go with anything. And I think I've probably used these on about 4 or 5 layouts already. I love that when you get that kind of mileage out of a pack of stickers. And so here's what I wanted to do with this. In a recent video, I talked about creating a feeling of movement, a sense of movement on a page. And that's what I felt like was missing. So I'm going to kind of create, you know how in comic strips, the artists will draw little lines behind the character to simulate movement? And that's sort of what I'm going for here. I don't know if it works or not. Tell me in the comments if you think it works. But I'm doing these cool arrows first around the photo of River and the circle embellishment, and then on the other side as well next to the hot air balloon. And this sort of emphasizes these edges. It also helps them to stand out against the pattern paper. And so I kind of made a point to use contrasting colors on each of the stripes. And then it still, for some reason, still did not look quite finished to me. So I'm going to go ahead here. Oh yeah, it needs a title. So I'm going to grab some puffy alphabets. I decided to use navy. These navy alphabets from Coco Daisy. And they're all lowercase. They're a pretty fun little font that I feel goes really well. I think I have enough letters. I did end up using all of the E's and the O's and the R's. So I think this alphabet set is pretty much done. And then also I ran out of O's trying to create this title. So I wanted to say hello gorgeous, and that meant yeah, one more O than what I have. And so I'm gonna I'm realizing that now. So I'm gonna get creative here and combine I think a Q. I ended up using a Q. Trim the Q down, and I'll get there in a minute. Here we go. Trim the Q down to fit behind the C, and then it will look like an O. Sometimes we just have to get creative with these alphabets, especially mine. I have not added to my puffy alphabet collection in a while. I have that whole bucket full. So that's fine. It worked out, and I like how that looks together. And I'm going to finish out that word. I will say that those alphabets are really sticky on that on that print of that paper. So cool beans, it says hello gorgeous now, and then of course when I step back and look at it, look you guys, it's still not done. So I'm gonna put River's name here on the other side to round it out. This feels balanced now, and I think that's really what I was working on to get the feeling of the layout being balanced, especially with the hot air balloon being sort of on the diagonal there on one side of the page. And then I promise, the last thing is a couple of more arrows here, and that finished it off. I think that's where it needs to land. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you so much for checking out my blog post on the Traci Reed Designs blog today, and I will see you back here again real soon. Happy crafting. Bye bye.